Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hi everyone, we are from group 7 and our material is case study ELT development curriculum. First, let me introduce ourselves. First, there is Sakinah Aulia Rahma, Aminullaj Ismail, Riska Putri Asad, Apriliani Bunga, and me, Suci Ramadhana. To shorten time, let's get to the material. And the first material will be delivered by Sakinah. Sakinah, time is yours.
Okay, thank you, moderator. So the first material is definition of case study. So what is a case study? A case study is an in-depth study of one person, group, or event. In a case study, nearly every aspect of the subject's life and history is analyzed to speak patterns and causes of behavior. Case studies can be used in a variety of fields including psychology, medicine, education, anthropology, political science, and social work. The hope is that learning gained from studying one case can be generalized to many others. Unfortunately, case studies tend to be highly subjective, and it is sometimes difficult to generalize results to a larger population. While case studies focus on a single individual or group, they follow a format that is similar to other types of psychology writing. So if you are writing a case study, it is important to follow the rules of APA format. So I will give it back to the moderator. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Sakinah. Now the next material will be delivered by Apriliani Bunga. Apriliani Bunga, time is yours.
Thank you, moderator. So the second material is about benefits and limitations. A case study can have both strengths and weaknesses. Researcher must consider these pros and cons before deciding if this type is advantages of a case study is that it allows researcher to investigate things that are often difficult to impossible to replicate in a lab. Some other benefits of a case study: first, it allows researcher to collect a great deal of information, gives researcher the chance to collect information on a rare or unusual cases, allows researcher to develop hypotheses that can be explored in experimental research. And on the negative side, a case study cannot necessarily be generalized to the larger population, cannot demonstrate cause and effect, may not be scientifically rigorous, can lead to bias, and researchers may choose to perform a case study if they are interested in exploring a unique or recently discovered phenomenon, and the insight gained from such a research can then help the researcher develop additional ideas and study questions that might then be explored in the future study. I think that's all. I will give it back to the moderator. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Apriliani Bunga. For the next material will be delivered by Aminullaj Ismail. Aminullah, time is yours.
Okay, thank you, moderator. Case study example. There have been a number of notable case studies in the history of physiology. Much of field work and theories were developed through the use of individual case studies. Some great examples of case studies in physiology include Anna O was a pseudonym of a woman named Bertha Pepin, a patient of a physical name Joseph Breuer. While she was never a patient of Freud and Breuer discussed her case extensively. The woman was experiencing symptoms of a condition that was then known as hysteria and found that talking about her problems helped relieve her symptoms. Her case played an important part in the development of talk therapy at Hines Gauge. Hines Gauge was a railroad employee who experienced a terrible accident in which an explosion sent a metal rod through his skull, damaging important portion of his brain. Cage recovered from his accident but was left with serious changes in both personality and behavior. Kenny was a young girl subject to horrific abuse and isolation. The case study of Jenny allows researchers to study whether language could be taught even after critical periods for language development had been missed. Her case also served as an example of how syn- synthetic, scientific research may intervene with treatment and lead to further abuse of vulnerable individuals. Such case, such case demonstrate how case research can be used to study things that researchers could not replicate in experimental setting. In chat, Danny had the opportunity to learn language at critical point in. I will return into the moderator.
All right, thank you, Aminullaj Ismail. And the next material will be delivered by Riska Dwi Putri Asad. Riska, time is yours.
Yeah. Okay, thank you for our moderator. The types of case studies. The first is collective case studies. This involves studying a group of individuals. Researchers might study a group of people in a certain setting or look at an entire community of people. Second, descriptive case studies. This involves starting with a descriptive theory. The subjects are then observed and the information gathered is compared to the pre-existing theory. The third explanatory case studies. These are often used to do causal investigation. In other words, researchers are interested in looking at factors that may have actually caused certain things to occur. Next slide, please. Fourth, exploratory case studies. These are sometimes used as a prelude to further, more in-depth research. This allows researchers to gather information before developing their research question and hypothesis. Next, instrumental case studies. These occur when the individual or group allows researchers to understand more than what is initially obvious to observe. And the last is intrinsic case studies. This type of case study is when the researchers has a personal interest in the case. Baiklah, saya kembalikan kepada moderator.
Okay, thank you so much, Riska, for your great explanation. And now the last material will be delivered by me. How to write a case study. There are also different methods that can be used to conduct a case study, including prospective and retrospective case study methods. Prospective case study methods are those in which an individual or group of people is observed in order to determine outcomes. For example, a group of individuals might be watched over an extended period of time to observe the progression of a particular disease. Retrospective case study methods involve looking at historical information. For example, researchers might start with an outcome such as a disease and then work their way backward to look at information about the individual's life to determine risk factors that may have contributed to the onset of the illness. Where to find data? There are a number of different searches and methods that researchers can use to gather information about an individual or group. 6 major searches that have been identified by researchers are first, archival records, census records, survey records, and name lists are examples of archival records. Second, direct observation. This strategy involves observing the subject, often in natural setting, while an individual observer is sometimes used. It is more common to utilize a group of observers. And third, documents, letters, newspaper, articles, administrative records, etc. are the types of documents often used as searches. And next is interviews. Interviews are one of the most important methods for gathering information in case studies. An interview can involve structured survey questions or more open-ended questions. Next, participant observation. When the researcher serves as a participant in event and observes the actions and outcomes, it is called participant observation. And the last is physical artifacts. Tools, objects, instruments, and other artifacts are often observed during a direct observation of the subject. That's all from our group. Thank you so much for listening, and may all this we have shared be beneficial for all of us. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.